So today I'm going to talk about why I think some of us need liver on the carnivore diet. So last night I ate liver for tea. For the first time since my mother tried to trick me into eating it as a child. I tried really hard not to gag. I managed to eat just about all of it, but it wasn't nice. Hi there, I'm Sue. If you haven't been to my channel before, I've been on the carnivore diet now for a little bit over 18 months, and I'm just sharing my journey, my thoughts, and the things that I'm discovering here on my YouTube channel. So today, I'm talking about liver. I ate liver last night for the first time since my mother tried to trick me as a child into eating it. I do not like liver, and I mean, as a kid, Mum used to put it in things, and I remember her making a meatloaf with liver in it one day and trying to get us to eat it, and I could always taste it, and so I couldn't eat it. I was the same with kidney, never been keen on any offal at all. So when I started on the carnivore diet, I was quite interested in the different opinions about whether we need organs or not, and I kind of, after a little bit of time, I kind of started to figure that maybe I did need some, because my gut health had been so bad for so long. If this is the first video of mine that you've watched, go back and watch some of my others where I talk about my gut health. I've had decades of IBS diarrhea, and that was one of the things that I was really hoping to resolve on carnivore, and finally at 18 months in, I think I've done it. It's taken a while, and it's taken some specialised kind of intervention to get that to change. So because my gut has been so inflamed and not working properly for so long, and because I had a lot of years where I was very highly plant-based, and some of those years where I was on a vegan diet, and then back and forward into vegan even once I started eating meat again, I kind of figured that I probably had a lot of nutritional deficiencies going on, some of them probably quite long-term, I think. And when I started on the carnivore diet, about 6 months in, I started having a lot of trouble with my scalp, and the scalp issue has continued to be an issue. And so I've been trying to decide whether it was oxalate or whether it was a deficiency. So I had listened to Elliot Overton at EO Nutrition, and he had given a couple of reasons for scalp issues, and one of them was a riboflavin deficiency. So liver is an absolute superfood, and I know that some people don't like it. I know that there are a lot of carnivores out there who don't eat any organs and are quite adamant that people don't need to, but I'm wondering if some of us actually do need to. My most recent video was talking about how I've just had it confirmed that I have a double MTHFR gene variation. So this is something that I've suspected for quite a few years, because I was diagnosed with pyroluria when I was 50, and they kind of often go together, and a lot of the MTHFR stuff that I'd read kind of fit with my experience in my life. But I didn't know for sure whether I had it until just over a week ago, when I ran my DNA through a website that kind of analyzes it, and bingo, there was the MTHFR stuff. So I've been looking into that lots, and my husband also has a double, it's called heterozygous MTHFR variation, and we both have the same variation, except mine is a little bit more of an issue. So the reason that I know that is I have started listening to a guy online on YouTube here called Chris Masterjohn. So he's a PhD in nutritional sciences somewhere, and he has MTHFR as well, so that's kind of one of his interests. And he has a calculator for calculating how much choline you need, because he talks about the main nutrients that you need or may need with MTHFR, and riboflavin is a big one. So riboflavin can underpin everything else. Sometimes it's just riboflavin that you need to focus on, apparently. But another one is choline. And so he has a choline calculator, and you can put your DNA through that. It's free to calculate how much choline you need per day. And it's quite cool because you can have it set for eggs. So I need 9 egg yolks a day to get the amount of choline that my body needs, or the equivalent in other foods. So when you put that through, it pulls together the MTHFR genetic variations, but also other genes that may affect that as well. So both hubby and I both have the 5 same genes that affect our methylation, but hubby's has one that doesn't affect it at all, and he has another one that only affects it partially, whereas mine all affect it. So basically what it says is that his methylation is potentially reduced by around 65%, mine is reduced by about 80%. And then, of course, there are other things, other genes that can affect all this as well, depending on what you've inherited from your mum and dad. So I'm actually going to do a video talking about my experience and what the things that kind of led me to the conclusion that I had MTHFR gene variation before I even knew that I had it. But that's too much for this video. This video I'm going to focus on the liver question and the organs question, and so watch out for that one if you're interested in that, because I'll be putting that up hopefully in the next couple of days. All right, so the question is, liver, do you need it? And my thoughts are it depends. As I said, there's a lot of people out there who say, no, you don't need organs. You get everything you need out of muscle, meat, and I mean that includes some really respected carnivore doctors. But when it comes to the MTHFR thing, I think that there may be a little bit of a different answer there. And that is because we all have MTHFR genes. Some of us have these MTHFR polymorphisms that potentially, not always, but potentially can cause methylation issues, which basically means that the MTHFR enzyme cannot do its job properly and convert the nutrients that it needs to into other things for our bodies to run correctly and to detox properly. A big part of it is the detoxification of things like heavy metals. So when it comes to this, so some people might only have a single variation. Some people, like myself, have got a double variation. Some people have doubles of the same variation. I have one of each. So that's heterozygous. I think it's heterozygous MTHFR variation, and the other one is homozygous if they have 2 of the same MTHFR variations. I think I've got that correct. I'm kind of new to this and looking into lots of things. So for those of us on the carnivore diet who have these MTHFR variations, there may be specific nutrients that we need that we may not get enough of in just muscle meat, and that's just the way that it is. So one of those nutrients, which is a biggie apparently, listening to Chris Master John, riboflavin, is a nutrient that kind of can underpin everything else. So it's like the building block for a whole lot of other things, a whole lot of other conversions and processes where other nutrients are used or other things are created in our bodies. And so sometimes those of us with a MTHFR variation may just need more riboflavin. Now, as I said at the beginning of this, I've had this scalp issue now for probably a year, where it's just itchy, scaly, lumpy, flaky, embarrassing because my clothes just get covered in little bits of white stuff. It's been gradually getting better, but it's taking its time. And so, as I said, Elliot Overton said that this can be a riboflavin deficiency. So the common kind of generally accepted, if you Google it, the symptoms that they talk about are things like depression, skin cracking and itching, dermatitis around the nose and the mouth, fatigue, liver degeneration, hair loss. So prior to Carnivore, I used to get like a dermatitis-y thing around my nose and my mouth, but my scalp was fine. My scalp was bad years ago, and then it came good again. And so when it kicked off 6 months into Carnivore, I was kind of a little bit confused as to why this was happening. And as I said, I thought might have been oxalate dumping, but I'm now kind of picking that it's been a nutritional deficiency, and wondering if it is riboflavin that's causing that. So when we go onto a high-fat diet, our requirement for riboflavin doubles. So if there's already a riboflavin deficiency, then that can potentially make that worse. Now you would think, because the riboflavin is in the highest amounts in animal foods, so liver is absolutely the number one best source of riboflavin. 1 serving a day of liver is enough riboflavin. It's also the next best foods are kidney and heart and almonds. And I used to eat a lot of almonds, but I don't think my body probably digested them very well because my gut was so bad. And so then the next best sources, so the kidney, heart and almonds, you're basically 2 servings of that a day and you've got enough riboflavin. Then the next best foods are red meat, so 4 to 5 servings a day provides enough riboflavin. Eggs, cheese and salmon are also really good sources. 4 to 5 servings a day of those as well provides enough riboflavin. So when I started on Carnivore, I obviously started getting a lot more riboflavin into my diet, but there are things that can stop your body from being able to use it or activate it. So an inflamed gut is one of those things, which was definitely the case for me, and probably has been even up until fairly recently, because it's only been since doing the SIBO protocols that my gut health has improved enough to kind of get rid of the histamine issues and get rid of the IBS diarrhea completely. So I still don't think my gut is 100%, but it's getting there. So if I'm eating a diet that's higher in riboflavin, but my inflammation levels in my gut are high enough that I'm not being able to use it or activate it, then that's going to cause a problem. So and then going on to a high-fat diet where the requirement is doubled, and then apparently if you have the MTHFR gene variations, your requirement for riboflavin doubles there as well. So the recommended intake for riboflavin is 1.3 milligrams per day, but it seems to be that 2 to 5 milligrams is actually really a lot better for most people. And so if you're eating a high-fat diet, and if you have the MTHFR gene mutation or variation, then your requirement is probably going to be at least 2.5 to 3 milligrams per day. So if your gut, like mine, isn't working properly, then only some of that riboflavin is going to be being used. So other things that can affect riboflavin use or activation in the body as well are things like thyroid, low thyroid or adrenal hormones. I suspect also that my thyroid's still just a little bit low. I've actually just started measuring my basal body temperature again in the morning after listening to a video by Paul Saladino the other day. It kind of got me thinking about it, and this whole MTHFR thing, and the fact that in my DNA it shows that I have genes that one in particular that affects potentially affects my body's ability to use T3 and T4, and also there was something about using selenium in one of those, and I've got some other genes that can affect thyroid, the ability of my thyroid to function correctly as well. So there's quite a bit of thyroid stuff in there. So I thought, well, I'll start measuring my basal temperature, and the last 2 mornings when I've measured it, it's been 36 degrees. So that's a little bit low. It's not as bad as it used to be. I mean, it used to sit around 35 years ago, and but now at the moment it's sitting on 36 degrees the last couple of mornings. So I'll keep measuring it for a little bit and see where it is. I've been going to go and get some thyroid blood tests done, but I can't do that until after Christmas sometime, and I'll see where they lie as well. So yeah, so if thyroid's a little bit low, then that can potentially affect that activation or use of riboflavin as well. And of course, the other thing is trauma or stress, which of course plays in with the adrenal side of things too. Just some other little facts about riboflavin. Another thing that can increase your need for it is exposure to sunlight, and light on foods can deplete it in food. So in particular milk. So milk's a fairly good source of riboflavin, but if your milk is coming in a clear bottle and is being exposed to light, then that is going to reduce the amount of riboflavin available in the milk. So after kind of thinking about that, I've decided to start making my SIBO yogurt using the raw milk that we get from the farm, because that milk comes out of the cow into a vat. It comes through the machine when I buy it, into my bottle, which goes into my chili bin, comes home and goes in my fridge. So there is almost no light exposure. Whereas the organic milk that I was buying from the health shop to make my yogurt is in a clear plastic bottle that sits in the fridge with a glass door. So little things like that can make a big difference to how much of the stuff you're getting. But of course, the best source is liver, and liver is a great source of all sorts of nutrients. And so I had bought supplements. So after listening to Elliot Overton about the thing, this was ages ago, I started buying these liver capsules, but I wasn't taking them every day. I was just taking a couple here and there, because I thought, I was kind of worried about, a bit paranoid about the vitamin A toxicity side of things, if my liver wasn't working very, very well. And so I was just, having them every now and then. But after finding out about this and digging into the information a bit more, hubby and I have both been having a full dose every night since then. So that's just been for the last week. And then last night we had liver for tea. He didn't actually mind it. I didn't like it. I was trying really hard not to gag. I ate just about all of it apart from 2 little pieces. And but I think I'm going to have to try to eat it in a different way. So I fried it up last night with some bacon and cooked in butter, because I thought everything's better cooked in butter. And I was very careful not to overcook it, and so it was quite kind of tender, really soft, but it's just the strong taste. I managed to eat it just cutting a little piece off and putting it with a piece of steak and a piece of butter, and that was how I was eating it, and that was why I didn't eat the last 2 pieces, because I run out of butter and steak. And even the way that the bacon turned out fried in the butter with it, it wasn't the way that I like bacon cooked either. I like my bacon quite kind of crispy. So I might try cutting it into daily portions of, an ounce a day, and freezing it and then swallowing it whole, raw, frozen, because I've heard of some people doing that. I also might try cooking it with some onion and seeing how that goes, because we have a little bit of onion powder sometimes, and we've been having a little bit of onion sometimes since I've been using doing the SIBO yogurt and having the prebiotic fibres, because the onion's high in prebiotic fibre. So we've had that occasionally, just the last probably 3 or 4 weeks. So I could try cooking it with onion and see how that goes. The other option, of course, is to blitz it up and put it in with mince or something. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get that in. But I really want to be able to consume it, so I have to find a way to do that. And the pills are too expensive to get the right amount that I think we need. So it actually feels like my scalp's got a little bit better, I think, since we've been eating that. And hubby's also sleeping better, like he's sleeping later in the morning, because he's had a problem for a long time where he would wake up every day 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, and not be able to get back to sleep. And he's been gradually getting better, but this last week, since we've been having the higher dose of liver, he's slept till 5:30 pretty much every morning, I think, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so I think that's about it. So yeah, my thought is that some of us probably need organs, and we're all different. And I mean, the other thing is the um, traditional hunter-gatherers, they ate everything off that animal, and although there was only one liver and one heart and one spleen and whatever else to go around, all the people that were eating it, it still would have been something that was kind of fairly regularly consumed. And you've also got to realise that we have had generations of messed up diet and lifestyle that has gradually got worse and worse and worse. I mean, you can see the genetic variables in our population today. Like, I mean, for example, if you look around, you can see what's going on in the world right now, and that is that as each generation comes through, they're getting less and less healthy. And so that's things that have, I believe, that have changed in our DNA, in our genetics, due to our lifestyle, due to toxins and things we're being exposed to. You can see the children today are not anywhere near as healthy as the children when I was a child. It seems like every second child these days wears glasses. They have all sorts of sensitivities and allergies and diseases, lots of diseases that were never heard of when I was a kid. And so there's all of this stuff that's changed. There's a lot of variables now. We are not the same humans that our ancestors were 10,000 years ago. And so some of our needs are going to be different. There are some people who are just there, they've got better genes, they function well, and then there's some of us that just don't. And so if our bodies aren't functioning properly, then we are going to need more of some of these nutrients, at least for a while, maybe forever. And so that's my thoughts. I'd like to know what you think and your experiences. So if you've got any comments or questions, fire away below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. I'd love to know what you think, your experiences, how you eat liver, whether you like it, whether you don't, what other organs you eat, and make sure to subscribe and hit the like button, and I will talk to you again another day. Thanks for watching.